Hello, read it here. Today we're going to read a story from / Am I the Asshole? Now, for our first story. AITA for telling my stepdaughter to go ask her real dad when she asked me to pay for her plane tickets. I married my wife Elise 12 years ago. She has a 16-year-old daughter, Anna, from her previous relationship, and we have a 7-year-old son as well. From pretty much the beginning of our relationship, Anna and I have never gotten along. I don't know how to emphasize that it is not because of a lack of trying. She just does not like me. When she was young, she was just scared of me and afraid I'd tear their family apart. Nowadays, it's more of a neutral dislike rather than strong antipathy, so I suppose that's progress. Elise is a stay-at-home mother, so she relies on me for income. As a result, I pay for everything for Anna. Food, clothes, volleyball fees, field trips. I take an interest in her hobbies. I go to her games. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I try my damn hardest to be the stepfather I can. But it's so hard. Always giving me curt one-word responses. Always having to have an attitude. She does things to get a rise out of me. Staying out late reeking of booze. Always trying to sneak boys in. Typical rebellious stuff. But I always let her know I love her and I'm there for her in hopes of her shithead teenager phase pass. The opposite is true for her biological father. She adores him. Can't tell you why. He never goes to her games. Always makes excuses for why he doesn't want to see her. He forgot her birthday last month, and she cried herself to sleep. Well, anyways, Friday, I came to her room to check her phone and read her messages. Not a permanent thing, but she's been caught sneaking out twice in the last month, so this is her punishment. I asked for the phone. She says no. I'm tired of you checking my shit. Leave me alone. I tell her I'm not asking again, and she goes, just fuck off already. You're not my real dad. You never have been. Stop acting like you can tell me what to do before getting up and slamming the door. Like I said, guys, I am tired of the blatant disrespect, of being the verbal punching bag while still providing more for her than anyone else in her family. We haven't really talked since until this morning during breakfast. She asked if I could pay for her plane tickets so she could see her boyfriend cross-state. Like I said, her mom doesn't work and her dad is a POS, so I normally would be the one to cough up the money. Not this time. I responded, go ask your real dad. I could tell she was hurt. Tears swelled up from her face, and she excused herself from the table. My wife took me aside later and said my comment was extremely disrespectful. I said if anything's disrespectful, it's her treating me like a doormat and a credit card, and I will no longer tolerate this treatment in my house. I told her we don't have to be friends, but if she can't at least be cordial to me or respect my position as an authority figure, she can find someone else to pay for her non-essentials. AITA, edit, just adding a TLDR at the request of a comment. My stepdaughter continuously disrespects me and my authority. She told me that I'm not her real dad. Later on, she asked me to buy her tickets, and I told her to go ask her real dad. AITA, and to add more context, my wife is a saint. She just stick up for me when Anna says something rude or snarky. She just said stooping to her level was inappropriate. But she's a wonderful mom and tries her best. Hey guys, it's been a good 2 weeks since I've posted, and I figured you guys would like an update. A lot has happened since the last time I posted. So that night, I did what many of the comments suggested I do, which was to apologize. I told her that I'm sorry, that implying that I'm not her real father, but like it or not, that I consider her MY daughter. That I loved her and will always be there for her. She started to cry and sob uncontrollably and said, why doesn't he, her biological father, love me? I held her and told her she didn't need to fight for his approval. I also apologized for looking through her phone, that I've come to accept that it's not an appropriate punishment for a teenage girl, and I was going to find other alternatives. Lastly, I brought up therapy, and while she was hesitant at first, I let her know it was nothing to be ashamed of, that everything she said at therapy would be entirely confidential, and that it could help to have a confidant to help her sort through her feelings. She sat on this for the day, but the next day let me know that she was ready, so I set up the soonest appointment, which was last Friday, and her second appointment this afternoon. It's only been a week, so I don't want to get too optimistic, but honestly, I feel like I'm noticing an improvement already. She's actually been engaging back in small talk, when normally she wouldn't give me the time of day. She's been following all of the rules, coming home at a reasonable hour. She's been less withdrawn and more social, even to the point where her brother commented on the change today. But the most exciting news of them all is when getting out the car on her way home from therapy. She said, and I quote, "Thanks, Dad. She's never called me Dad before, so honestly, I've been riding off that high for the last 2 hours. I'm not delusional enough to think everything's peachy, but honestly, the behavior change in the last week was the most progress we've had since, well, ever. I'm cautiously optimistic going forward." Let's hear from the comment section. Comment 1. That is incredibly important to learn when dealing with teenagers. Just because they're old enough to know better than to lash out doesn't mean they have the emotional maturity to not lash out. Unless they have a good model for how to deal appropriately with emotions, it's just a matter of time and growing up. And sometimes even when they have models for good emotional intelligence and maturity. I had a rough time as a teen because I had undiagnosed ADHD and executive dysfunction where I couldn't control my emotions once they got to a certain level. Neither of my parents were exceptional models for emotional intelligence like that. Your stepdaughter is lucky to have you, especially because it sounds like her bio dad is a dumpster fire. This is going to sound weird as fuck, so bear with me. You might be her emotional punching bag because she feels safe lashing out at you rather than bio dad. It sounds like she's having that realization now. I know a lot of kids with an abusive parent lash out at the other parent because they can't safely express emotions to their abuser. Therapy and open communication is going to go a long way here. TL, DR, we're doing the right thing here. Comment 2, this right here. So many times, people post in this sub with asshole things their teens do, and the comments are always like, "Not the asshole. You need to punish the teen further and bully them back to teach a lesson." Of course, teens need consequences and to learn lessons, but it is so incredibly important to provide love and unconditional support rather than justice. Comment 3. Thank you so much for the update. I was an original commenter too. I told you she was taking it out on you because she knew she could depend on you. I mentioned what my own stepfather said to me. Know that calling you Dad was planned long in advance and took every ounce of her courage to speak that word and pretend it was casual. You are a good man and a great dad. Now, for our second story. Am I the asshole for giving my ex-wife a large amount of money I won despite the anger of my GF? I recently won a fuck you amount of money. I won't say exactly how much, but it's in the millions. It makes me feel funny, even typing it's enough to change the life of myself and my family. My ex-wife is the mother of my 2 kids. She is an amazing woman and good to the bone. We divorced 6 years ago because I had an affair with my current partner. I was in a low place in my life, and I fucked up. She was in incredible pain, but like a fucking saint, she allowed me to still see our kids who mean the world to me, allowed our divorce to be as pain-free as possible despite the fact that I know she was hurting. She still is close with my parents. She is respectful to me, although she refuses to talk to my GF. She was actually the first person I phoned after my mom and pops after I found out I won the lottery. She was pleased for me, joked that I could take the kids on a world round trip, and that was that. Nothing else. As soon as I won, I knew I wanted to give her a significant amount. I still love her. She's the mother of my babies, and I feel like this is some small, tiny way I can show her that I'm not a complete fuck-up. She deserves to know that I care despite my mistakes. She also works a shitty job in the public library, which pays her peanuts. She would actually be able to pursue her hobbies this way. Give our kids a better life between us. I haven't discussed this with my ex yet, but I have with my parents who strongly agree and my lawyer who is very surprised but on board. Long story short, when I told my GF, she was my livid, screaming that I'm disrespecting her, accusing me of still being in love with my ex-wife. I'm not in love with her. We've both grown apart, but of course I still love her for being an excellent co-parenting partner and mother to my kids. My GF is threatening to break up with me, and TBH, I'm feeling incredibly relieved over the threats. I don't plan on changing my plans, but am I the asshole? Let's hear from the comment section. Comment 1. Not the asshole if you intended for the money to help out her and your kids. If you only intended to give it to her because you love your ex-wife, then you're a bit of an asshole. ESH, for making your current girlfriend a plan B. The way she reacted was a little over the top, but to be expected since you're giving money to another woman that you used to be married to. Otherwise, you do have kids to provide for her, and it's none of her business because you're not married and you don't share the money. Just a question. Did she know you had a wife when you had an affair with her? Because if she did, then the whole disrespecting her is a load of bullshit because she did the same thing to your ex-wife. Comment 2. Not the asshole. At the end of the day, you still shared a lot with your ex-wife, and that probably intimidates your girlfriend. In my eyes, the girlfriend is being extremely childish in this situation, and the fact that you're feeling relieved about her threats says a lot about you too. Perhaps it's time to reevaluate your relationship and just focus on giving your kids the best lives possible now you've got the means to do so. Comment 3. Can I ask a blunt question? Do you think you're holding on to the relationship with your girlfriend because if it doesn't work out, then it will mean you destroyed, for lack of a better word? You're married for no reason then? Because the fact you said her threat made you feel relieved doesn't make me think you are 100% in it. Now, for our third story. Am I the asshole for how I fought my boyfriend's medical bill? Going too far? My boyfriend had to go to the ER after an accident, and he got a truly ridiculous bill back. I offered to fight the bill for her because I've done it before, and he said sure. I went all out because honestly, if we were out $5,000 after insurance, that would fuck up our holiday plans pretty bad. So I had him call the hospital and authorize me to handle his bill and access his medical records. Got an itemized bill and compare the prices for each code to the fair prices. Called billing to dispute the bill, but was told that billing only collects bills. I need to contact admin to dispute. Bounce around a call center for hours trying to get someone who is actually qualified for bill disputes and getting nowhere. Google and LinkedIn search for the hospital board of directors and upper management. Got 30 emails of the most influential people at the hospital, plus the hospital's investors. Every day would send a few emails, working my way up the chain and writing an increasingly long email describing how they billed my client at 7 times over the fair price for services rendered, and how their billing department, customer service department, and the growing list of management I'd emailed had failed to address the issue. Escalated the emails until I was writing the director-level staff with the entire board of directors and a number of outside investors CC'd, asking for a written statement regarding their justification for billing at a rate 7 times higher than the national average for commensurate services to what is available at other hospitals, and sternly laying out the failures to appropriately respond at every level of the company. Well, once I'd done all that, which was honestly only like 15 minutes a day, they reduced the bill from $5,000 to $26. Yep, $26 fucking dollars. Well, I told my boyfriend the good news, and he was at first overjoyed and blown away, like literally jumping up and down and hugging me and saying I was literally a Christmas miracle. But then when he asked how I did it, I said it wasn't too hard. I just had to send a couple emails each day. He was curious what I'd said, and I handed him my phone. He started to get stressed and flipping back through other emails, which there were like 60 of. He told me I went way too far. He was expecting me to dispute through their billing department or something normal and reasonable like that. Not internet stalk every single manager and board member and investor and harass them into dropping the bill. I was frustrated because I just saved us $5,000, actually made it possible for us to afford a nice Christmas and save some money. And he was mad at me because I'd been a bit of a hard ass. I was furious, and he was also mad at me, saying he authorized me to dispute a bill, not basically threaten and harass a whole damn hospital for weeks. Am I the asshole for how I got my boyfriend's medical bills dropped? Let's hear from the comment section. Comment 1. You are a friggin' rock star and should be a damn professional advocate for those who get ripped off in healthcare like this. Your boyfriend is so unappreciative and is clearly clueless on how diligent you need to be to challenge an erroneous bill. When the hospital, doctors, and insurance companies are unwilling to help you resolve their errors, what else are you supposed to do? So many people just quit and either pay the massive bill or go into debt. Tell your boyfriend this is the only Christmas gift you're giving him. Clearly not the asshole. Comment 2. Definitely not the asshole. Why is he stressed? All he had to do was make one phone call to authorize you to go apeshit on them, which he did. Send him a bill for $4,974 for your efforts. Good Lord. Comment 3. Hijacking the top comment to say that I've worked in billing, not in a hospital though. I can tell you, at the lower levels, the people you're actually speaking to on the phone, we cannot actually do very much. And for a billing specialist to escalate this, if they even care enough to advocate for you, which can be rare, likely getting denied, needing to go through the appeals process, etc., it would probably take months. When it comes to business, often it is better to escalate things like this early on to people who can actually address the issue, instead of trying to fight it with 4 departments where no one person takes ownership. Now, for our 4th story. Am I the asshole for laughing when my son came home from meeting his girlfriend's parents because he chose to behave like he does at home? My son burps a lot while eating. I have tried telling him multiple times that it is rude. I've told him to slow down so he doesn't swallow air with his food. I've told him that it is disgusting. My wife will instantly jump in to defend him. She will say that's just the way he is and that it's not his fault. The thing is, he can control himself when I remind him. He just chooses not to. He just went on a date with his girlfriend last night, and she tore him a new asshole. It was his first time meeting her parents since they live in another city. They went out to a fancy restaurant, and he burped all the way through supper. He came home almost in tears from her chewing him out for behaving like a jackass in front of her family. I heard him telling my wife about it, and I laughed. She asked what was so funny, and I reminded them both that I had tried dozens, if not hundreds of times to teach him table manners, and he rejected them, and she protected him. I said that now he's a grown man, and he had to learn the hard way. They both think she overreacted, and that I'm the asshole for being amused by his experience. Let's hear from the comment section. Comment 1. Not the asshole. I also laughed at this. How old is your son? Doesn't matter either way. There are times for this behavior. Dinner at a restaurant is not one of those times. Girlfriend did not overreact. Hopefully he learns a valuable lesson from this. Comment 2. Yep, Dash. Opie is not the asshole. It's Opie's wife that is the asshole. She abdicated her responsibility as a parent to prepare her son for the outside world. Teaching kids table manners and setting the standard for behavior is the responsibility of parents, guardians, and educators. Now the son is going to be insecure in social settings because he has been given too little guidance on how to behave because his mother indulged him and gave him the impression that anything he does is okay. I'm betting there are other bad habits she has allowed as well. There's a way to set appropriate standards while letting kids know they are loved and accepted. Accepting their inappropriate behavior is not the way. Separate the behavior from the person. OP, you may need to lean in more here now that there is a window of opportunity for both your wife and son to see how doing things their way has failed them. I hope he's able to smooth things over with the girlfriend. I'm surprised that this issue hadn't come up between them before. Did he ignore her efforts to correct him because his mother had enabled him for so long? Comment 3. Holy shit, not the asshole. I was expecting 16 as well. Has he never seen other people eat while out? Did he never notice his friends and others don't behave like this? I'm glad the girlfriend laid into him about it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see more.